Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Deepansh, and this is another episode of Gyaan Nahi Gossip. This is where all the heavy ideas are broken down into bite-sized pieces right here. We've got Dr. Pallavi Kawatra with us, who is going to be the prime focus in this particular session. And today, the topic that we have is something that we have so much to talk about in terms of our its relevance and our ability and inability to understand that one, and it is humility. So very soon we will turn the spotlight to Dr. Quatra, and I think she's going to start this with a lovely little singing bit of it that she's very passionate about. So you're going to hear me butting in and out of this one to ask questions or relay your questions to her or something like that, or just have a conversation. So over to you, Dr. Kuatra. Gyaan Nahi Gossip shuru karte hain. Shri Matre Namah.
Thank you, Deepansh. Good evening to all of you. Malaji, good evening, and Bhairavji, good evening. Today's session is another leap forward in discussing many deep matters with a little tinge of joy, freedom, and flow, basically. So the Gyaan Nahi Gossip sessions are basically those kind of interactions where I just try to put forward some insights into certain very powerful and important areas of our life with whatever I know or have experienced. And I just use these setups with Deepansh's help to be able to share my point of views and also welcome you to collaborate in this joint understanding of these serious topics in a very light kind of mode. So today is the second session of Gyaan Nahi Gossip, and we are taking up a very important subject where we are going to decode how strength is found in humility. So as we know, like in these urban times, strength is actually a lot of aggression, a lot of power play, and everyone's just trying to raise their views, impact the world with a certain force. So this session I wanted to just use for identifying a very subtle quality of humility and how we can achieve, or maybe everything just comes to us. Achieve is not the right word, but everything just comes to us when we can use this sukshma tool of humility. So that's how, even in spite of how soft it seems as a force, but devotion is something that has got its own intelligence, that works in ways that are magical, and kindness, compassion, and humility are very powerful modus operandis to create impacts without any doership ego inside. It's not laced. So bhakti, this session is basically about bhakti. This session is basically about understanding how we can inculcate humility to still get everything done in the world. So it's not as difficult as, or as impossible that it seems to be. And here, actually, I've kind of tricked you into this session because this session is more so going to be about the description of the classical archetype of strength and humility, which are found in many characters of the Ramayana. Sri Ram is basically my personal archetype or my personal role model on how I try to work with humility in the urban times. So this session is going to be a lot about Sri Ram and a lot of other characters of the Ramayana who also embody the power of devotion, the the fruit of bhakti. So I will just want to begin with singing the Lord's name, because I feel deep peace and it's very fulfilling just to chant the name of Sri Ram, which is a complete mantra in itself, which is a complete illumination in itself. So we don't need many complex things to get into the bhava of devotion, to understand humility. We can just chant the name itself, and with repeated meditation on the name or chanting of the name of Sri Ram, we can understand his character, his consciousness, the principle of humility actually flowing through very subtly. There's no loud voice to Sri Ram. There's no aggression in his behavior. And yet everything that the way he conducted himself to every
Ma'am, you'd have to unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
yeah, so all of us can actually testify to this, that Sri Ram has completely corroborated how humility is not something very very faint and very meager and very weak. It's something that has managed to move all of us from eons till date. So how does that happen? How does this movement happen? It is not loud, it's not boasting about itself, but it's so subtle, and yet at the same time so moving to our hearts. That is how, when we are humble, we are kind in the face of difficulties, in the face of insult, in the face of criticism, in the face of violence. That is how we can live that Sri Ram's character even in today's world. So this session is totally going to be about Sri Ram and other characters of the Ramayana. So I would request all of you to enjoy chanting, and Deepansh, you could also unmute everybody so that they would want to join in for the chanting. They can do that. So we will be chanting for 2 to 3 minutes about just the name of Sri Ram.
Sure. Everybody has been asked to unmute them.
I will be starting and all of you can join me.
Sure.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai
Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai
Ram, Jai
Ram,
Ram, Jai
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 Ram.
Ram, Shri Ram, Jai
Shri
Ram,
Ram, Jai
Jai Jai
Ram, Jai Jai
Ram,
Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai
Shri
Ram,
Ram, Jai Ram,
Ram,
Jai
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 Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram,
Shri
Jai
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram,
Jai Ram,
Ram,
Jai
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 Ram.
Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai
Ram, Jai
Jai Ram,
Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri
Shri
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai
Ram,
Jai
Jai
Ram,
Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri
I would
Ram,
invite all of
Jai
you to
Ram,
sing. Don't be shy, because this is the platform where we can do what we have to. There's no, it's okay even if we are not in harmony. Just enjoy the chanting. Open your kantha and chant the name of the Lord.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram,
Ram, Jai
Jai
Ram, Jai
Ram,
Jai
Jai Jai Ram,
Ram.
Shri
Shri
Ram,
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 Jai
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 Ram,
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 Jai
Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram,
Shri
Jai
Ram, Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai Jai
Jai
Ram.
Jai Ram.
Shri
Shri
Ram, Jai
Ram, Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai
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 Ram.
Ram.
Shri
Shri
Ram,
Ram,
Jai
Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai
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 Ram.
Ram.
Shri
Shri
Ram,
Ram,
Jai
Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai
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 Ram.
Ram.
Shri Ram,
Shri
Jai
Ram, Jai
Ram,
Ram,
Jai
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 Ram.
Ram.
Okay,
Shri
Deepansh, can
Ram,
you just
Jai
put
Shri
a halt to
Ram,
Ram,
this,
Jai
please?
Jai
Ram, Jai
Thank you
Jai
Jai
very much.
Ram.
Ram.
Thank you, all of you. So we've had some cacophony of the music here, okay, which is not a bad thing. Everything need not be very perfect and very immaculate, because it just has to be a participation. I wanted to invite you for chanting because many of us are just intellectualizing everything, including the chanting. We are not even opening our mouths to actually experience what the vibration of the sound is, because we have many limitations of how ideal and perfect it needs to be. But it doesn't need to be ideal and perfect. It just needs to come from the hridayam, from the heart. So even if you are not very melodious, even if you're not very up to the mark, but the chanting of the repeated chanting of Sri Ram's name is something that can completely change the scenario of your mind, to that aspect that whenever you are confronted with too much of violence in your life, people are very violent and they're generally throwing things at you in terms of their emotional clutter. And that is the urban scenario in which we have to practice that humility. So when we are doing this chanting day in, day out, then automatically when somebody is rude to us, somebody is mean to us, we will get, we will not come into that, we will not fall into that trap and start responding back with the same coin, with anger, with bitterness, and with lashing out. So what is this practice? This practice is of strength. This practice of humility is of strength. It is of a deep inner discipline. संयम है ये. संयम का मतलब है सेल्फ कंट्रोल. सेल्फ कंट्रोल का मतलब है ह्यूमिलिटी. जो लोग सेल्फ कंट्रोल में होते हैं वो एकदम से उत्तेजित नहीं होते, एकदम से रिटालिएट नहीं करते, एकदम से पुश बैक नहीं करते. So that itself is their power, and that itself is their strength. Now, if we look at Sri Ram's life, there have been so many events where his own kith and kin, his own people who were so dear to him, whom he so much respected, have actually not only just abandoned him, but admonished him. And he was not paid the due respects. In fact, he was sent to the forest for 14 years for no actual fault of his. But how was his reaction? How was to this whole unjust behavior that was going on with him? That is the key point here that we need to imbibe and mimic, because that itself was his strength. He always bowed, he always said namaste, he always said yes to all these things, all these insults that he got from his own parents, his own mother. He never retaliated and said, why me? Why are you doing this unfair thing to me? Why should I go to the forest? Why should I become the victim? How he faced everything in his life with a smile, with very एक ठहराव है उस व्यवहार में, एक एक बहुत सरलता है उस व्यवहार में. क्या हम उसको इम्बाइब कर सकते हैं? हम रामायण रोज पढ़ने से कोई फायदा नहीं है if we are not going to practice anything that actually is the point to be caught. See, we are a ritualistic country. We have many kinds of gods, and we know their stories from the time that we actually grow up hearing those stories. So we have heard the story 1,000 times. The रामायण की स्टोरी कोई नई नहीं है, हम सबने सुनी हुई है, हमने सीरियल भी देखे हुए हैं, हमें सब पता है सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स क्या होता है, बट हमने मूल मंत्र अपनाया क्या है अपने जीवन में, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। तो उस स्ट्रेंथ को, उस ह्यूमिलिटी को, उस काइंडनेस को, उस कंपैशन को क्या हमने अपने व्यवहार में उतारने की कोशिश की है, और कितनी कोशिश की है, कैसे की है? These are the ideas that I want to share in this session. I want to actually make you feel inspired to even practice one innate of that God consciousness principle that we are only busy reading about. It's time to actually come out and do some work with ourselves, not just become some intellectual crap readers and becoming some knowledge bombs and knowing and quoting shlokas from the scriptures. It's not really about that. The truth is actually in catching that dot point and putting it into practice again, and again. That is the sadhana of working with Sri Ram, with the Ramayana. So not only Sri Ram, if you were to look at the characters of Hanumanji and uh, uh, Bharat, look at their characters. Bharat was totally, he was not at all in fault in this entire story, but he lands up for 14 years in exile himself, just to show his devotion and do the tapas for the Lord. See that humility in that character. Do we have even one nth of that kind of power, courage to actually give up on kingdoms, on our wealth, on our things, and just go and sit there as a bhakti bhav, as a devotional offering? So not only Sri Ram, Bharat's character is very strong in the Ramayana, and Hanumanji is the total embodiment of that devotion. So Bhakti is the mother of Jnana, and all these characters are very, intricately woven to keep reminding us how the Lanka of our minds can be actually won by using the sukshma tools of bhakti, devotion, surrender, humility, kindness, compassion. You don't have to do, आपको हर वक्त ब्रह्मास्त्र नहीं उठाना है जीवन में इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करने के लिए, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. You can do little things very impactfully if you have the will and you have done this reflex practice with yourself of practicing this devotion, practicing this humility. So that's what I just wanted to use this session for. And everyday tips for getting into this modus is that chanting of the name of Sri Ram is very, very simple. Even a child can do it, even you can do it. So moment to moment remembrance of the Lord, singing his hymns, even though you may not be a great singer, but keeping the remembrance alive moment to moment, chanting the name of Sri Ram. Then there are 2-3 tools that you can use in your daily life. One is the chanting of Sri Ram, and then you can do Hanuman Chalisa chantings. So Hanumanji is he's so powerful. He has all the siddhis, he has all the power, he can move mountains, he can do everything. But look at his humility. He's absolutely like a child, absolutely like a no ego, not even एक क्षण भंगुर भी नहीं है वो अहम की भावना. तो हनुमान चालीसा जो है वो चांटिंग करने से हमारे अंदर भी वो भाव विकसित, एटलीस्ट वो अंकुरित होने लगते हैं. तो रोज कर सकते हैं, बड़ी सरल है. हनुमान चालीसा तो बड़ी सरल है. और अभी इस वीडियो में चैट विंडो में दीपांश विल बी शेयरिंग वन यूट्यूब लिंक where I have actually tried to sing the Hanuman Chalisa in an ultra rapid fast version of just 4 minutes. So you can use that. You can use many other tracks that are available. 4 minutes is a very easy thing to do, isn't it? I know we all are very busy, but what use is a life which has no pleasantness and no remembrance of the Lord? So try to work with Hanuman Chalisa, try to work with Lord's name. And I have 3 things here I'd like to show. I use these tools, so I think they may help you. One is this very, very very छोटी सी किताब है. Look at the हालत of this किताब. You know, like I've been having it for years in my bag. It is संपूर्ण रामायण. So इसमें इसमें रामायण की ना सारी स्टोरी है, कैसे कैसे क्या सीक्वेंस हुआ. इसको आप पढ़ सकते हैं रोज. It takes around 20 minutes to read every day. It's very rewarding to read the story of Ramayana again and again, because those are stories of heroism, of valor, of ज्ञान, of humility. तो ये पढ़ सकते हैं. इसके वीडियो ट्रैक बहुत अवेलेबल हैं यूट्यूब पर. दीपांश will share one more track with you. You can do the reading of this Sampurna Ramayana. Then, if you really want to understand the character of and consciousness of Sri Ram, then I enjoy reading this book. This is Yoga Vashisht. Okay, this is a very deep and elevated transmission where Sri Ram often had many doubts. Like all of us humans, we have so many doubts how to walk in the world, कैसे practice करें चीजों को. तो जो गुरु का महत्व है वो यही है कि वो हमारी बड़ी बड़ी सिंपल से क्वेश्चंस जो हम फेस करते हैं डे टू डे लाइफ में, उसको हमें अपनी एडवाइस से हमें रास्ता दिखाते हैं. सो दिस बुक is easily available on I think Amazon. You can get it, and it has got many verses. You can read one verse each day, each verse with its translation. So you can do 365 days of reading with this very small book. यहाँ पर questions पूछे जाते हैं. श्री राम अपने गुरु वशिष्ठ से पूछते हैं, मैं कैसे जीऊं यहाँ, कैसे रहूं, कैसे कंडक्ट करूं, कैसे उपचार करूं, कैसे अपने आप को संभालूं, औरों की मदद करूं. बड़े सिंपल क्वेश्चंस हैं, बट बड़े गहरे हैं, बड़े प्रकाशित करने वाले हैं. So this book can be used every day for the practice of understanding the character of Sri Ram. Because if you read the Ramayana is more like a story. It doesn't actually go in depth into understanding what was the personal journey of Sri Ram. So Yoga Vashisht will help you understand that. And then I have this very wonderful book for many years, it's like a really fat book. It's called Living Hanuman by Pavan Kumar Mishra. So Mr. Pavan Kumar is a very elevated soul. And he's done a very detailed translations of the Hanuman Chalisa in terms of its verses. So you can do a 40-day practice in your life, where you can read one verse of the Hanuman Chalisa along with its detailing of its भावा क्या है. सिर्फ उसको चांट करने से नहीं होगा. We have to understand कि वो कैरेक्टर में हमें घुसना है. जब तक हम उस कैरेक्टर में नहीं घुसेंगे ना, तब तक हम अप्लाई नहीं कर पाएंगे जो हम जानते हैं. तो आप 40 दिन हर रोज एक वर्स के साथ काम कर सकते हैं हनुमान चालीसा के, इस बुक से या कैसे भी जैसे आपको अच्छा लगे. दिस बुक इज वेरी नाइस बिकॉज इसके जो एक्सप्लेनेशंस हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा डीप हैं, और वो सिर्फ एक थियोरेटिकल लेवल पे नहीं, बट वो कैरेक्टर को डिकोड करते हैं, एक एक वर्स को पूरा इल्यूमिनेट कर देते हैं. सो आई रियली लव doing 40 days cycles of repeating my understanding of the Hanuman Chalisa. You don't have to read 40 or 400 texts to become wise or illuminated. You need to do one thing with deep sincerity and actually try to do more work, internal work of application, not just wisdom or मतलब knowledge नहीं, application बहुत जरूरी है. So that was what I wanted to share, and I want to thank all of you for coming and attending this session with me. And thank you very much, Deepansh, for holding the space where I'm able to connect with all of you. So Deepansh, can you please share the links in the chat box?
Yes, already did. If you
Okay.
want me to play the video, I can play 2 of the 3 that you have mentioned right there. The 4-minute Hanuman Chalisa, I think, is a better experience if people individually listen to it. That's definitely better. If I'm not wrong, that is in your own voice as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And 4 minute, guys, 4 minute. हर किसी को लोग see, we are not as busy as we think. 4 minute निकल सकते हैं दिन में. 40 मिनट चले जाते हैं रील्स देखने में, तो 4 मिनट इसमें क्यों ना इन्वेस्ट किया जाए. तो एक तो ये है. However, there's another video from your channel itself. It says, what are the benefits of chanting Ram? Do you want me to play it?
I think you can play just the Ram wala video, and you can paste the links for both the videos in the chat box, so people
Yes.
can use these chants for whenever they want to use or how they feel
Yes.
inspired.
So the benefits of chanting Ram is something I'm playing. The rest of the links are already there in the chat section. Guys, chat section में जो links दिए गए हैं उनको मैं suggest करता हूँ आप copy paste करके अब खुद को email में भेज दीजिए या तो फिर खुद को WhatsApp पे भेज दीजिए ताकि आपको ये सब handy रहे. That's something that I request you to do. For now, let's quickly get you a taste of what ma'am was talking about. This is going to be a video that talks about what is the benefit of chanting Ram. If you can hear the sound, please do let me know.
जय बजरंग बली.
Did you hear that? Could you hear it?
Yes, but
Okay.
play it from the beginning.
Play it
Could
from
you
the
play?
beginning. Yes, I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of test it. So we are all going to be on mute, guys. Let's listen to it. It's a very short 30-second video. Let's go for it.
जय बजरंग बली हनुमान. जय बजरंग बली हनुमान. जय सिया राम. जय सिया राम. जय सिया राम. जय सिया राम.
Hey guys, that's a very short one, but जैसे मैम ने शुरुआत में ही कहा था, कभी कभी कुछ नाम ऐसे होते हैं जिनमें पूरे मंत्र एक ही साथ आ जाते हैं और राम जी का नाम कुछ ऐसे ही है. So this is such a sweet vibration इससे निकलती है. और मैम ने ये भी कहा है कि राम जी का जो पूरा कैरेक्टर है, इवन एज अ स्टोरी अगर हम इसको सुनते हैं तो there's something very huge about it in terms of how he dealt with people, and in spite of being such an amazing king and such powerful one, कैसे humility से वो अपनी पहचान बना गए. तो उसके बारे में कुछ Q&A भी हम वेलकम करेंगे. अगर आपको कुछ भी सवाल है इससे जुड़े हुए, please go ahead, ask us in the chat section and I will relay that question. Okay, somebody is asking Hanumanji's book name. Thank you for the session. The book name was Living Hanuman. In fact, I was trying to get you a link of that one. The author of this one is Pawan Kumar Mishra. Kindle में इसका जो लिंक है वो मुझे मिल चुका है और वो मैं चैट सेक्शन में आप सबको दे रहा हूँ. हार्ड कॉपी जो है वो भी लिंक ही होगा यहाँ से. Yoga with Vashisht book available on Amazon. मैम ये बुक्स Amazon में अवेलेबल तो हो ही जाएंगे, राइट?
हाँ, ये दोनों अवेलेबल हैं. योगा वशिष्ठ भी अवेलेबल है और लिविंग हनुमान भी.
Very nice.
Both paperbacks are available on Amazon.
Being an avid reader, I just got two amazing recommendations. और मेरे लिए new territory है, so I'm definitely going to buy them. Guys, if you have any questions around it, please ask. Ma'am, is this the section where you take the Q&A, or you want to kind of have a little closing thought before we get into that section?
We can have questions and we can take it after that.
Okay. I am going to put everybody on mute, guys. Please, let's just use the chat section for relaying your queries. Ma'am, एक जो बहुत ही आम जिंदगी से जुड़ा हुआ सवाल है, talking about humility. Now, हर किसी के बस में नहीं होता है राम जी जैसे बनना, right? तो यहाँ पे हर किसी को मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि शायद अगर बैक आंसर ना करें तो शायद I am weaker, which is a very sickening thought in itself. How would you bring in a bit of Ramayana, a bit of your knowledge into it to let us understand that it's not important to have the last word in any conversation, in any argument, for sake?
It's actually the ego play where we want to aggress on our opinion on others, and we find it very difficult to accept somebody else getting more powerful than us. So all the relationships, whether at work, at home, with friends, even the closest relationships are actually power plays. जहां पर हम जितना वो जोर से बोलते हैं, हम उससे और ऊपर की एक पिच पे जाना चाहते हैं, तो उससे ही ये प्रूव हो पाता है कि भाई मेरी चलेगी यहाँ पर. दैट इज हाउ वी आर यूज्ड टू ऑपरेटिंग इन द वर्ल्ड. अगर आपके साथ कोई बदतमीजी कर रहा है, तो अगर आप उससे ऊपर की पिच में बोलेंगे, तभी आप प्रूव कर पाते हैं अपना पॉइंट इन द वर्ल्ड. बट essentially, what does it bring to our inner state, this behavior of aggressing above what is happening? What does it do to your inner state? You all have experienced it, we all know it, कि हम जितना उत्तेजित और जितना और एग्रेस करना चाहते हैं, वो जब इंसिडेंस खत्म हो जाता है, उसके बाद आई एम श्योर वी हैव दिस बैकलैश विप्लैश मेमोरी ऑफ, your body is very sensitive. एकदम से you have a palpitations, you get totally unpleasant with yourself. So is it really worth it to do this kind of violence with yourself? Ask yourself that, just to prove that point. You can do your work and just leave it at that. And if somebody else is just trying to get very aggressive with you, there are two ways to it. Either you just go through, bypass karo usko and say namaste, thank you, and move around, or else just say ki bhai, let it be, I have nothing to aggress on, and I will do things what I am driven to do, but I will not be, मैं अपने मुख को, अपने वचन को और अपने मन को निर्मल रखूंगा. ये जब मैं इसमें, I am confident that I am not going to get into your modus and I'm not going to respond to you with the same violence. That is the practice, that is the sadhana, that is the tapas. So we may not be Sri Ram, definitely, but we can definitely mimic, apply, reflex, practice tapas on this principle again and again in everyday life interactions.
Very well said. और एक चीज मैं पूछना चाहूंगा. इनफैक्ट मैंने कहीं पे पढ़ा था that if anything costs you your peace of mind, that's a very expensive cost. तो आप भले ही उस मोमेंट के लिए जीत जाते हो, बट आपने बहुत बहुत कुछ खर्च कर दिया है उस आर्ग्यूमेंट को जीतने के लिए. So tell me, in a situation like that where we have, see, हर किसी को पावर प्ले पसंद है, हर किसी को ईगो, ये जो जद्दोजहद है, ये बहुत सालों से चल रहा है. दिस इज आवर डिफॉल्ट बिहेवियर. इसको ओवरनाइट तो चेंज नहीं कर सकते. तो where do you want us to draw the inspiration for कि भाई ये, it's not my battle to fight, कि भाई this is not for me to be involved? How do you create that detachment?
You create it by your daily sadhana practice. I feel that when you are very rooted in your work, inner work with yourself, धीरे धीरे आपके अंदर वो संयम आ जाता है, धीरे धीरे आपके अंदर वो पावर, सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन और वो कंट्रोल आ जाता है, जहां पर आप इंसेंटिवाइज नहीं होते, आप जल्दी से उसके ऊपर उत्तेजित नहीं होते. So your daily sadhana is the key to creating that ambience inside yourself where you are not triggered. So it's not something like a pill that you go and eat and then suddenly you become dispassionate. No, it doesn't work like that. It works with daily consciousness, conscious tapas work with whatever sadhana that you're doing. It has to make you some amount of sthira basically. जब तक आपके अंदर वो pause नहीं है, तब तक you should understand that your sadhana is not really working out for you. Any kind of sadhana, any kind of work that you're doing with yourself, if you are not able to get into the pause, then it is not working for you. There is something wrong in what is happening. Either you're not doing it consciously, or you're not doing it enough, or you're not just doing it consciously. I feel it's not about the quantum of your tapas. It's about the longing, the sweetness of your surrender, the depth of your longing. So if you've done work, daily work with yourself, if you have a daily stable spiritual practice that enables you to come into pauses and not respond back at every trigger that you are given, then it's you, आपको खुद पता चल जाएगा, आपके डेली बिहेवियर में आपको खुद पता चल जाएगा. There's no cut point to it. You will see it happening. You see that silence coming in. जैसे ही कोई बिटर होता है, आप सडनली ज्यादा जोर से बोलने के बजाय आप ज्यादा चुप फील करोगे. So you will witness that change in your own bhava, in your own behavior. That's what I feel.
Sounds great. और एक सवाल मैं पूछना चाहूंगा. This is about the humility in everyday चीजें. अभी देखो, एपिसोड का नाम है ज्ञान नहीं गॉसिप, तो एक गॉसिपी चीजें पूछूंगा, ठीक है? अक्सर जब हम लोगों से मिलते हैं, वी टॉक अबाउट किसकी जिंदगी में क्या कलेश चल रहा है, ओके? और कभी कभी ये लगता है कि इनमें यार बहुत जम के झगड़ा होता है, nobody wants to say sorry. तो इस सॉरी बोलने से क्या लोग एक्चुअली छोटे हो जाते हैं? क्योंकि I don't think that's the way it works, right? It's not weak to say sorry. It's not weak to accept that yes, I have made a mistake, right?
It is a matter of great strength to say that two words. It is a matter of great courage to accept your defeat, accept your inability, accept your inefficiency, accept your not being perfect. क्योंकि उसमें कहीं ना कहीं हम बड़े जुवेनाइल हो जाते हैं, हम बड़े नेकेड हो जाते हैं. जैसे ही हमें ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे ही हम सॉरी बोलेंगे तो हम बड़े शिथिल हो जाएंगे, तो दूसरा आदमी हम पे और हावी हो सकता है, तो हम डर जाते हैं. वी आर स्केर्ड. वी डोंट वांट टू बी like overpowered. We feel very vulnerable. But if we have the tool of forgiveness, then we are the mightiest one. We are able to transcend through the most difficult relationship issues in our life. अरे भाई, हमको पता है हमने गलती नहीं करी, but अगर हम sorry कह देते हैं, we move the heart of the other person and he also becomes gentler to us and the situation is dispersed. So there is nothing wrong in saying a sorry. There is nothing bad about it. You're not going to get vulnerable. It's fine. You're not going to die. Nobody is going to kill you if you're just exposed. Go all out, be yourself. And when you feel that you're at mistake, bolo sorry. बिल्कुल बोलो.
Yeah,
वो
और
strength
बालाजी
है.
कह रही है.
वो strength है आपकी.
Exactly. Balaji कह रही है sorry probably is the wrong word. Instead of sorry, you and I can use apology, which creates it better. Yes, that's a more formal word. So yeah, for example, if I'm writing an email, that definitely has a place right there. Corporate relationship में बहुत अच्छा होता है. पर यार यहाँ पे sorry बोलने में लोगों को मौत आती है यार. I apologize में तो बहुत सारे letters extra है. But कुछ भी बोलो, it's okay to accept. और कभी कभी I think खुद की गलती ना होते हुए भी sorry बोलना for the sake of peace is also a power, because you do not wish to be gaslit, you do not wish to be triggered. और वो it takes a lot of self reflection to understand कि ये मेरा trigger point है, मैं यहाँ तक जाऊंगा तो combust होऊंगा, इससे पहले रुक जाता हूँ. So अगर गलती भले ही मेरी ना, फिर भी for my mental peace, for sake of that, I probably will just say sorry and just मिट्टी डालते हैं वहाँ पे. That's how I would like to take it. What's your comment on this one, Dr. Quatra?
Yeah, you voiced everything on my behalf. So many times it's a strategy to say sorry in today's world. Strategy for your own peace of mind. And as Upinder Jeet Singh has very aptly said, that with your wife, do not expect it from her. So he's actually got the Maha Upadesha in his life. उनके फंडे बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट हैं, बिल्कुल सेट हैं भाई, कि भाई सिचुएशन आ गई है, कोई सी भी विपत्ति आ जाए, आप बस बोल दो भाई, हाथ जोड़ दो, quickly it's going to be solved, settled, move to the next point. Don't expect her to say sorry. It's not happening.
It's foolish too as well ना. ये सोचना काफी foolish है ना, वो आके मुझसे sorry बोलेगा. भाई वो उसकी choice है. being on a higher vibration is not something that everybody could do, right? If we can have it in us, हम बोलेंगे यार, because we understand. दूसरे ना बोलें, that is their choice. Simple
हाँ,
है.
उनकी मर्जी. Their choice is their responsibility. Your choice is yours. You will become what you will practice. They will become what they will practice. So your individuals actually, though you may share very close bonds with your personal equations, your husbands, wives, everybody, but ultimately we are two individuals who are walking our own inner journeys. So हम जो अपने लिए standard set करेंगे, अपने बिहेवियर के लिए, अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस के लिए, अपनी एवोल्यूशन के लिए, वो हमारे साथ ही जाएंगे. वो और किसी के हम नहीं ले सकते, ना वो हमारे ले सकते हैं. So we have to do our work on ourselves. There's no escape from it.
So basically कोमोलिका से एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते पार्वती जैसा बिहेवियर. वो कोमोलिका रहे, हम अच्छी चीजें करते हैं.
हाँ. The choice of the responsibility and the choice are always ours. The consequences may not be ours. Consequences हम नहीं डिसाइड कर सकते हमारे एक्शन के क्या होंगे, पर हम अपनी पीस को, अपनी चॉइस जरूर चूज कर सकते हैं in every situation possible.
So true. All it takes is just realization कि यहाँ पे something is gonna spark. Let's put it in a different way. Neetu has shared a comment right here in the chat section. She says, once one of us would say sorry and stops the argument, then both the people will calm down, and then actual realization begins whether if the argument was a requirement or was it even legit, or did we just react instead of responding. और ये बहुत नीतू बहुत अच्छी बात कही आपने. इनफैक्ट इन सबको अच्छी तरीके से इवैल्यूएट करने के लिए वक्त की जरूरत होता है. और the moment you give yourself that waqt with that mental peace, I think you have just withdrawn yourself from a tricky situation to peaceful situation. And yeah, दूसरों को भी realization होता है कभी-कभी. क्या सोचते हो?
So the ability to go into the pause in the face of any insult is your biggest strength. वो pause, वो silence, वो humility है आपकी, कि दूसरे जब आपको जलील करते हैं तो भी आप चुप हो जाते हैं. वो आपकी वीकनेस नहीं है, क्योंकि आप उस पॉज में जाते हैं जहां पर दूसरे आदमी को भी एक रिफ्लेक्शन का मौका मिलता है और आपको भी. So that is the pause that you need to learn consciously every interaction of your life. एकदम से किसी भी चीज पे रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करना है, अच्छाई पे भी नहीं और बुराई पे भी नहीं, क्रिटिसिज्म पे भी नहीं और प्रेज पे भी नहीं. आप पॉज में रहो, 2 दिन बाद बात करेंगे. अच्छा हाँ, now we can sit across the table and actually discuss कि जिन चीजों के ऊपर हम इतना अपना वो खर्च कर रहे थे, पीस, was it really even worth it? And you'll find that most often most of the situations are only just gaslighted because we are ready to jump into that. So अगर हम ये ठान लें कि हम नहीं इसमें पार्टिसिपेंट हैं, भाई हम मूर्ख हैं लेकिन हम नहीं है पार्टिसिपेंट, तो अपने आप जो है it will just dampen down.
True that. In fact, again, something that I follow is react करने से पहले 3 checklist है. एक है should I react, second is it necessary, and third one is it kind. ये 3 बहुत जल्दी binary yes or no में अगर आप खुद को ही पूछेंगे, I think you will save yourself from a lot of these emotional spending, as I call it. Now here's a piece of gossip, by the way. Upendrajit Singh ji, I hope your wife is not listening to my voice at this moment. What you've written right there, we can all identify with it. The moment someone is angry and the other person apologizes, the person who gets angry is so full of guilt that the person always overcompensates. So in your case, you get good food and good treatment. And we are all happy for you, brother. We are very, very, very happy for you.
I think Upendrajit Singh is the most evolved one in our entire group, because he's caught hold of that one point, मूल मंत्र, कि भाई बीवी के साथ जीत नहीं सकते हैं, इसीलिए चुपचाप सॉरी बोलो, अच्छा खाना खाओ, मजे करो, और बस इतना सा करना है. इतना सा करने पे इतनी सारी रिवॉर्ड्स मिलते हैं, इतना सारा प्यार मिलता है. तो क्या परेशानी है करने में? करो ना, जितना करोगे. एंड इफ यू आर इन द क्लोजेस्ट रिलेशनशिप्स, इट्स बड़े फ्रिक्शन होती है, जल्दी से वी गेट वेरी रब्ड, यू नो, वी आर वेरी ट्रिगर्ड इन द क्लोजेस्ट रिलेशनशिप. दूर के जो होते हैं वो तो हमारे डिफरेंट फेसेस देखते हैं, so we are very goody to them. But how do we practice this in the same room where somebody is playing loud music and irritating our heads out? So this is exactly where the real understanding comes to us. So Pendrajit Singh is having lots of fun and he's done his work very well. I think he gets an A plus amongst all of us here.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, seriously, clap, right there. It's really nice. But turning towards what we started off with, or जो discussion का main मुद्दा था, which is a connect with spiritualism amongst all of it and amidst all of it. तो देखिए, हमारे पास जितनी एनर्जी है, हमारे पास दो चॉइसेस हैं, उसे कैसे खर्च की जाए. फिजूल की ऐसे आर्ग्यूमेंट्स में, या तो फिर उसी चीज को स्पिरिचुअलिटी में इन्वेस्ट करें. चैंटिंग, राम के नाम से बहुत पीसफुल वाइब्रेशन है, ये हमने पहले ही डिकोड कर दिया था. बट जरूरी नहीं कि ये सिर्फ राम ही हो. यू प्रोबेबली कैन आइडेंटिफाई विद अनदर कैरेक्टर फ्रॉम रामायण हु इज क्लोजर टू यू, and every character definitely comes up with something. So whatever it is, remember, no gaslighting, no getting gaslit, and please understand, you have to understand तुम्हारे trigger points क्या है. बस उतना ही है. गीली माचिस जलती नहीं है आसानी से. Always remember that.
तो हमें गीली माचिस ही रहना है. People might mock at us and say, अरे ये तो बड़ा बेकार आदमी है, इसकी तो कोई सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट ही नहीं है, इसकी इतनी इंसल्ट कर रहा हूँ फिर भी ये मतलब कुछ कहता ही नहीं है. Let them think what they have to. You know that you are doing an internal self willpower work, which is very deep, and they have no ability to sense it, understand it, or respect it. So why are you even giving any ideas to them? Do your own work, be quiet, eat the happy food, sleep off well, and be chinta mukt, basically.
Very nice. Wow, that's all the questions that we had. So if you have any parting thought, notes whatsoever, we can turn to you. But I think it just turned out to be such a wholesome discussion. Relatability, real life spiritualism, Ramayana, Ramji. I mean, we are doing it. Gyaan Nahi Gossip is actually hitting it all out of the stadiums right here. IPL ki zubani hai ye. Okay. So Dr. Quatra, go ahead. Any closing statement, any closing note before we can probably wrap this up?
Yes, I suggest a very simple method that when we greet others, हम अपने वर्क प्लेस में जाते हैं, हम अपने घर पे लोगों से जब पहली बार मिलते हैं दिन में, तो rather than using the Western ways of greeting like good morning and very formal stuff, invoking the name of the Lord, like saying Ram Ram, Ram Ram. कोई भी सिचुएशन हो आपके जीवन में, अच्छी बुरी, greeting message, कैसे भी, बस राम राम. So if you can do that much also, धीरे धीरे आपके हृदय में राम जी की जो मिठास है वो भरती जाएगी. आप ये मत सोचो कि आप सिर्फ शिष्टाचार कर रहे हो, सिर्फ फॉर्मेलिटी कर रहे हो, सिर्फ मुख से बोल रहे हो, फील तो होता नहीं कुछ. पेशेंस रखो. Keep working with these very age old and very simple and very powerful things. They are not little. Use them consciously. So greet everybody with Ram Ram. And I'd like to close today's session. Ram Ram, and thank you very much. Thank you so much for all of you. Ram Ram.
Ram Ram, everyone. Sleep well. Shubh Ratri. And we will see you in the next episode of Gyaan Nahi Gossip right here. Another light-hearted chat session here with Dr. Pallavi Quatra. Mera naam Deepansh, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone.